Well, I got to the end of the road, burning bridges wherever I go. But I promise you this, I am getting my kicks. So fuck you, this is my bucket list.
The band that I formed and playing in Calgary, the Ativans, have had the opportunity to play a couple shows with KJ solo over the last couple of years. So I got to know him as a person, and he asked us to play the after party of their anniversary, which was at the local 522. So I got to know him. I've gotten to know him over the last couple of years. And whatever happened, and they were looking for somebody to play with them this fall, he asked me, and I said, of course. So
it just started out as kind of a touring thing, but at this point now, the tour's over. What does that mean in terms of your involvement within the band now?
Well, I'm in Chixdiggit.
Yeah.
But there's other people in Chixdiggit too.
Okay.
So Marco Flaherty, who lives in Spain, is in Chixdiggit. Kepi Gooley's in Chixdiggit. So it's kind of like a family.
Right.
And I think what they do is they look at who's available to play, and then, they make a decision about who's going to play those shows or do those tours.
So you're not Matt Skiba.
In Matt Skiba and Blink-182? No.
I just had to do that. It's an inside joke.
I'm Matt Skiba in Alkaline Trio.
So when did you start listening to that band? Because I imagine you're not from Calgary, but you've probably been listening to Chixdiggit for quite some time, like most of us have.
Yeah, I was a fan when Born on the 1st of July was out. And, I liked them, but when Scene to Shining Scene came out, I really liked them. And that album was my favorite album for a long time. And I still love that album. So, I've been listening to Chixdiggit for, I don't know, almost 20 years, I guess.
So what's that like? 20 years after the fact, now you have your Mark Wahlberg moment and you get to be in the band.
It's amazing. And what makes it more amazing is that the guys in the band are just genuinely awesome dudes. Just fun to be around. Everything we do is fun. There's lots of laughing. All the experiences are super cool. The shows are great. The crowd reactions are great. It's pretty amazing.
So what's that like then? Jumping from, and we'll talk about the Ativans a little bit more later, but what's that like going from, a band that you formed and, put out a record and had a local following certainly, to going and jumping on, a band that's been well established for a really long time. Yeah. And, now you're touring with that band.
Yeah, it's like a dream that you didn't really even think was a dream come true, I guess. It's pretty awesome, Nate.
Yeah.
And not just that I've listened to Chixdiggit, but one of my genuine favorite bands. I love Chixdiggit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really cool. And I honestly think what's made it even more cooler, more special is how awesome the guys are. They're just genuinely awesome dudes. And one of my good friends, even leading up, before both of us were in the band, BJ Downey, I think he's kind of going through the same thing too.
Right.
Where he's been a long time fan of Chixdiggit and playing the band. So there's two of us that are kind of, it's new and amazing and exciting and all that stuff.
It must be surreal. Has that surreal kind of part of it worn off yet? Or do you still feel like, am I fucking doing this? Am I really in this band?
Yeah, there's a bit of that for sure.
Yeah. The fandom is still present.
I think it's always going to be present because I love the music. I'm not going to stop liking or revering his songwriting any differently because I'm playing with him, right?
Yeah.
So when we get to hear stuff that's new, it's just as exciting for me sort of being in that room, or maybe even a different kind of exciting than listening to it as a fan. But, yeah, it's amazing, right?
I would imagine there's been a bit of a camaraderie between you and BJ too, right? Being the two new guys on the block, and you must have a totally different connection now than you ever did before.
Yeah,
the two new kids to the treehouse.
I think that yeah, knuckleheads. I think we're called. Yeah.
So Chixdiggit just put out the 2012. Record, I guess you could call it, or single. I don't know what you'd call it, but has that been part of the tour at all? Playing parts of that or all of that? Or I would imagine that'd be a pretty overwhelming thing to have to play live on stage.
There was a snippet of it played in Edmonton, but I think that's going to be a 2017 thing, playing that live.
Okay.
That's gearing up for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just talk a little bit about that family. I mean, you said that there's all sorts of people, that kind of come in and out of this band. I mean, what's that like, just to have this broader family past just the 4 current members, I guess?
Yeah, well, Marco Flaherty is the original guitarist, and great guy, legendary, funny dude. And he's living in Spain now, so there's things that he does. Like he did the last European tour that was just in, June or July. And Kepi Gooley, who's like, a legend in his own right.
Yeah, for sure.
Plays bass. Like, when we went down and played Fest, him and BJ were both there, and they traded off playing bass throughout the set. And he's just an awesome dude to be around, too.
Yeah.
So everybody, it's just like, I don't know, it feels natural. It's like hanging out with friends. Everybody's laughing. It's just all about having a good time and having fun.
Has the novelty of hearing, let's hear it for Billy. Let's hear it for Billy.
That's never going to wear off. That would never wear off. That's never going to wear off. No.
So let's talk about the Ativans then. Because, I mean, that's, locally here in Calgary, like, you guys put out this record and you were starting to see the Ativans show up on a lot more bills, and you guys were, maybe that was just me paying more attention to it because now you've hit the big time.
I was worth your acknowledgement.
Exactly. Yeah, I took a moment to take notice, and I don't often do that. But it kind of seemed like you guys were just hitting a stride. And not to say that, Chixdiggit puts that away, but I mean, it must change the dynamic of what you do in the Ativans or how that band now progresses.
I don't know. I think it's still the same kind of thing. I think that our goals in the Ativans were more local, if not regional. And there's only so many local shows you can do. And part of the reason for that is the dudes in the Ativans are, I'm a busy guy, but the other guys are even busier. So it's hard for them to, set aside lots of time for that or to make plans of doing long tours. And I think we acknowledged a long time ago in the band that we would never, quote, get in the van and do long tours. So
to quote Henry Rollins.
Does that
sure.
quote Henry Rollins?
Where are you pulling that out of?
It's a book. It's what it's called. Get in the van.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I was
talking
Henry
to some
Rollins
well-read
no fun.
people.
Yeah, no, not about Henry Rollins.
Yeah, I forgot. Chixdiggit.
Yeah.
Full circle, Nate. Full circle.
Yeah. Wow.
We haven't played a lot lately. There's some things that we're going to do next year. But, I think the reality is, though, if I had to pick one, I would pick to play with Chixdiggit for sure.
And how are the guys in the band with that? Like, is that, I would assume, like, at this point, in careers.
Look at this guy.
He's trying to get some dirt.
Just hit it. It's a fucking Sunday afternoon, dude. Like,
Throw some people under the bus, Billy.
you know what the reality is?
You thought Rolling Stone was hard.
Yeah. Look at this guy trying to make a name for himself off some poor local schlub.
Wow.
Like just
High five is a big thing. High five is a big thing.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, you've interviewed Robbie Robertson now, and now you're gonna come.
Right.
No, you know what? And this is honest. There's actually no drama about it. Like Adam, who plays drums, he's actually a friend since we both lived in Yellowknife, and we've known each other since we were kids. And he's really excited about it, and super pumped about it, and really into it. So there's been no awkwardness or weirdness or anything about it whatsoever.
So the Ativans, where does the Ativans go from here? I mean, you guys put out a record last year. Is that when it came out, Landlocked?
Yeah, it was last year, right?
Yeah. It was last August 8th. We put it out.
Such a beautiful day.
Such a beautiful day. Yeah, so we got new songs, and I think even when we were going to play a show on January 6th at the Palomino, we've got some friends, they're a local band called The Detractions. Have you guys heard of them?
No.
I haven't actually.
They're releasing a record on that day, and they actually got on the same label as we did, Transistor 66 out of Winnipeg. So they've asked us to play with them, and not because of that connection, but because we've actually been playing shows with those guys over the last 3-4 years, and they're a great fucking band. So we're doing their album release show, and I think the shows that we're going to be playing moving forward, I mean, it's only a handful of songs off Landlocked, so we've got a lot of new stuff, and I think that the goal is sometime in 2017, if we can find the time, is to record an EP.
Okay.
And just, I'd like to play some shows in Edmonton, maybe play a show in Vancouver, play a couple in Calgary kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So is there potential then for the Ativans and Chixdiggit to tour together? Do you have that kind of pull within Chixdiggit?
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't think I have or would be looking for that kind of pull. I think my focus would be on, giving 110% in the Chixdiggit when I'm doing the Chixdiggit stuff.
Yeah.
What
was the highlight of this last tour? Because I mean, you guys, it was a pretty, it was a short tour, but pretty busy, right? And to end out in Fest.
Well, we ended actually with the Prairies.
Oh, I don't do research for this podcast.
Yeah, clearly. But so we did. It was comprised of like 3 or 4 trips. So we did Eastern Canada.
Okay.
We did Fest. We did Edmonton. We did West Coast, and we did the Prairies. And so I mean, everything was kind of a highlight. I mean, it was really cool going to play Fest, obviously. And that was a fun show. We played with Direct Hit and the Copyrights and Wonk Unit and other bands.
Yeah.
And Broadway Calls.
I think there's like 450 bands that play Fest.
No, I mean the show we played.
Oh, I gotcha.
The actual show we played.
Gotcha.
There is a lot of bands that played, though, including Propagandy.
Right.
And, Eastern Canada was really cool. Playing Toronto, Bovine Sex Club, awesome venue, and playing Montreal and Ottawa and London at Call the Office. Like everything's been awesome. It's new. So going to these places with Chixdiggit, everything has been really super fun.
So you come from Yellowknife, right? Like, is that where
I come
you were?
from all over the place.
Is that where you
lived
spent?
there for like 10, formative years, teenage years was Yellowknife.
So what's like? I don't know. I think most people probably have an assumption of what Yellowknife might be like. Mm-hmm. And what's that kind of scene like? How do you fall into punk rock, growing up in or forming yourself in Yellowknife?
Well, my parents were split up. And so I came down. My dad was living in Calgary at the time. I came down and lived in Calgary for a couple years in high school. And I went to school at Western, and this was like in the heyday of Megatunes. And just previous to that, me and some friends in Yellowknife had discovered Green Day and then, the Ramones and the Sex Pistols. We were 13 years old. And you decide that's the kind of music you like. So I come down to Calgary when I'm 15, and now I get to go to shows. And I get to go to, record stores that have that kind of music for sale. And, you meet people that are like-minded. So I think that was sort of the roots of it. There's not a scene per se in Yellowknife. There might have been one punk band in town, but there wasn't places to go see shows. I mean, me and my friends played guitar, and we would, maybe goof around at a party, but there wasn't a scene like there would have been here, so.
I'm sure there's not a lot of bands touring through Yellowknife.
Gob played Yellowknife.
Is that the claim to fame?
It's good for Gob for going up there.
They have a music festival. So Gob played Yellowknife, and the Weaker Thens played Yellowknife.
That's more realistic to me. Gob going up there seems kind of funny.
Yeah,
but Gob was here every other weekend when we were kids. So.
That's right. Yeah, and I saw Gob when I was young a bunch of times here.
Yeah,
$7 at the Republic,
Yeah.
with the Browns.
I think it was the Black Lounge that they had almost revesidency there
at one
them
point. And Beyond Possession and Belvedere probably would play a lot.
Yeah. I would imagine that, with being in a band like Chixdiggit, there's a little bit more pressure to be on the road. And I mean, it doesn't seem like Chixdiggit tours that much, but especially with an album coming out, is that harder to manage? With, you've got a new kid on your scene, you've got a 2-year-old, and is that become harder to kind of manage that time?
Here's the thing. All the families went out on tour for Eastern Canada.
Oh, wow.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All the kids and the spouses. And that was really neat. unique for sure.
Yeah.
And the other touring, it's obviously planned in advance enough that you know what's going on, but we kind of it was kind of built around weekends.
Right.
You know, so there wasn't a ton of time away. So we did a lot of shows, you know, 14 shows in 2.5 months or something. But the way it was spaced out was you know, I think it kind of reduced the impact of being away, you know, for a big chunk.
Is there like a sense of relief in that too? Like where, you know, you're going from a band like the Ativans where, you know, you're probably doing all the booking and all the shows booking and, you know, I mean, then going to a band like Chixdiggit where I would assume a lot of that is already taken care of. Like you're kind of band leader in the Ativans going to, you know, part of the band in Chixdiggit. Is there kind of, you know, relief in that sense? Like where you just get to play as opposed to kind of, you know, leading the charge?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I mean, I'm clearly not in charge in Chixdiggit. I'm never going to be in charge of that. And that's, I'm totally into that. It's great because KJ does obviously a really good job of that. But, it's just different. You know, there's still a lot of stuff to do in Chixdiggit, a lot of extracurricular, but it's all fun. And I don't think that, I think it would be tough to do this stuff if you didn't really find the fun in it, you know? I wouldn't want to do the Ativans thing if all those little things weren't fun. Because in the Ativans, when you're doing all the things besides playing the show is only like 5-10% of the work. Right, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. So
with you and Adam, you know, you met Adam, you said in Yellowknife. Were you guys playing together there before you guys met up in Calgary? Did he follow you here, or how did that all happen, and how did that all transpire?
It was serendipity. Adam played in like the only punk band at its time in Yellowknife. He was a drummer, and Adam was a really good drummer. Is a really good drummer, and they were called Moondoggy. And they were like clearly like super Green Day fans. Like I think everybody was then. And it was like, you know, they were doing that thing. And Adam moved away. I don't know. I can't remember when. And we saw him by chance on a Warped Tour trip. He was living down in Red Deer. And like, you know, we reconnected that time. And then I had never seen hide nor hair of Adam ever again. Didn't know where he was or anything until the very first Ativans show. Because one of the other bands that was playing was a Yellowknife connection too, and he came to see them, and Adam Waddell was there at the very first Ativans show, and we reconnected then, and I said, hey, do you want to be our drummer? Because we kind of had a funny situation with that. We were just doing the first thing for fun, and he jumped right on board.
So you meet Adam again, you know, years down the road, and you guys decide to start this band. I mean, and then you guys have a different bass player than you currently have in your lineup. Mm-hmm. So you guys have had some transitional members within the band as well. So something you're not used to, I guess, being in Chixdiggit, where there's been, you know, a lot of people come and go from that band as well.
Yeah, but I think that there's also been like a lot of like longtime stalwarts in Chixdiggit. You know, the 4 guys besides me and BJ have all been in Chixdiggit a long time.
Right.
And I think with, you know, different in the Ativans is that just for different reasons, guys just couldn't commit to it or, you know, weren't interested or moving away, you know, so that just kind of happens. I don't think the allure of playing in the Ativans has the same type of allure maybe as playing in other bands. So, yeah, like we had a bassist that moved away back to Yellowknife. And then we had another guy that his work commitments just got too crazy that he couldn't commit to practicing or to playing shows. So those types of things happen, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's kind of what I was getting at when we were talking about, you know, balancing everything. I mean, you know, when you get to a stage in your life where you have families and you have careers and then you've got a band on top of it. Like, I mean, you know, you mentioned, and it is unique getting to have your family come on the road, but I mean, there must, just the commitment to getting together and jamming and, you know, writing and all that stuff. I mean, does it just get harder as you get older?
Well, I think it's just like managing your time. Like dudes play hockey or softball, or they have other commitments or other interests in life. And so this is like my outlet when I have free time, right, is playing music and playing shows, right? And overall, I mean, I think that there's people that have other interests that probably even commit more time. You know, like a few hours a week you jam, and then, you know, you do a show here and there. And I don't think it's had a... You know, like I think that there's times that I should also acknowledge that I'm really lucky with my spouse, Lori. And I think all the spouses in Chixdiggit in particular are really supportive of that. And they're one of the things that, really helps drive that, machine. And, cause when you're on the road, it's a little bit different. I'm speaking about, for as far as the Ativans go, it's a little bit easier to manage. But, I think, you got a supportive partner and you manage your time and you just, spend it on things that you're really passionate about.
So you join Chixdiggit and they have a pretty extensive catalog. Mm-hmm. Do you have to, and like I've seen them and it doesn't seem like there's ever really a planned set list. It seems like people just yell stuff out and kids are like, all right, we're playing that one. So did you have to learn everything?
Well, I learned, a lot of songs, and there has been a time where here and there where we've learned a song on stage. I think it helps that I know, like I've heard all of these songs.
Sure.
Yes, it's not
right. So that
to
helps.
You, right?
It's not like a total surprise, like I've never heard it before, but it's interesting learning them on stage. But I learned I know over 40 songs.
Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, what was that first show?
Maybe it's not 40, but I know a lot. It's
we're
probably
gonna have you
40.
write them down for us afterwards.
We could. Yeah. It
and
might be over 40.
What was that first show like? I mean, was it like playing your very first show kind of all over again? Because I imagine, when you start in a new band, you don't expect probably hundreds or thousands of people to be there. And meanwhile, you're starting in this band and there are hundreds or thousands of people there. And you're playing songs that you've never played in front of a live audience before, except for maybe the cover that the Ativans do. So what was that like, getting out there?
So the first show was the Gateway Festival in Bengoff, Saskatchewan, and which is a really cool festival. And Bengoff is like totally, off the beaten path.
Oh, it's a world-renowned city, is it not?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, not only is it off the beaten path, but I mean, like, you have to like get off the main highway to get there.
There's not an airplane that goes right there.
No.
Right.
So I think there's like, and there was some like Stampeders played in Sloan, and the Odds played. Fred Penner, which was amazing.
It's a big name.
But that was a family trip too. So our spouses and children came out to that, and I think I got to practice with them. And I'll say this, I think I get a little bit nervous before every show. I think that's normal, and maybe I was a little extra nervous for this one because of the levity of the magnitude of the situation. But it felt pretty natural. It was tons of fun.
Yeah.
It was, it's fun. That's like the best way to explain it.
Like there were no moments where you're up there and you're like, holy fuck, where am I? And I don't mean on stage, I mean in the song.
Yeah, that's probably happened. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. We all make mistakes, but it's, practice makes perfect.
What's your favorite Chixdiggit song to play?
Favorite Chixdiggit song to play? Oh, I really like playing Miso Ramen. I really like playing Welcome to the Daizo. That's kind of the first song we play most shows. I really like playing GeoCities Kitty, which is the closer. Those are kind of the hits. When it gets to like songs that are maybe like not openers or closers, I really like playing CGIT. I like playing Brunette Summer a lot. I like playing Ohio. Let's put it this way, and I mean this completely honestly. There's not a song I don't like playing, So
when you're in two bands, I mean, do you think that maybe you haven't done much writing in the Ativans since you started with Chixdiggit, but do you think that experience being in Chixdiggit will inform some of your music writing, going down the road?
I think it will, because I get the opportunity to play the music that KJ writes, which I really like. When you kind of get an opportunity to play that quite a bit, right? Like those kind of things and those maybe themes stick in your head. Not that I would necessarily want to rip him off, but you can certainly get a little more inspiration and certainly a little more ideas for like melodies maybe, or harmonies to draw on, right? Just the way that he writes music. He writes a good hook.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, without a doubt.
There's no doubt about that, right? So,
yeah.
And I, when writing songs in Ativans has always kind of like been in spurts to me. Like I'll just won't do anything for like 4 months and then, you know, maybe write 3 songs in a weekend kind of thing.
Yeah. So what does that for you? Like, I mean, you know, not to get all arty, but like what inspires that music that you write?
Man, I should figure that out. I really should, because it's really all over the place. I think Landlocked was, you know, they were kind of songs that were written over like maybe 3, 4, 5 years and put together for that, where what we'll do next is maybe songs that were written in a shorter period of time. So I think it'll be a little more linear as far as sound and themes go. But I don't really know. You know, it's just whatever.
Do you write from an autobiographical point of view, or is it more storytelling?
Well, there's both. Like, I mean, I have a lot of autobiographical songs, but I also wrote a song on the last album about the movie The Wizard.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I'm like,
Yeah.
did you know, listen to the album? There's a song about the wizard on there.
Yeah.
That's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
This is how you get answers, Mike. You ask questions.
Well, that's why you're a professional, and I just
So
sit
it's
here
kind
and
of
like
it's a little bit of both, right?
take a jab every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the Wizard wasn't autobiographical, but, you know, like,
Could have been.
I'm curious when you, again, like kind of getting back to the age that we are, and, you know, life kind of starts to feel a bit routine. You know, does it get harder to write and find things to inspire that writing process? You know, like with a lot of, especially with punk music, you know, I would say a lot of it's either political or about girls. And, you know, when you've been married and, you know, you've been in a relationship for quite some time and the breakups and startups aren't as frequent anymore. I mean, does it get harder to find that inspiration within writing music?
What?
Like, I don't want to say
I don't know
life.
if you need the struggle to write. You know, I think what you need is what you alluded to the last question. You need, like, you know, some type of inspiration to write about. So that could be about a multitude of things. You know, it could be about a past experience. I've written about things that have happened way in the past. It could be about like a current outlook or like an experience through somebody else's eyes, or like you kind of said before, storytelling. So I think like the trick is, you know, no matter what you're doing, if you're like aging or going through whatever in your life, is to not like get complacent, like to keep having fun and to keep getting inspired about things, and, you know, keep wanting to do the things that make you happy.
Right.
And I think that, you know, writing music is one of those things, right? For me anyways. So I think it would be no different than, you know, I brought this up before to like a dude my age maybe playing hockey. You know, it's probably easier to not go play hockey, you know, on a weeknight when you're in your 30s. But if that's what makes you happy, go play hockey. Does Mike play hockey?
I play hockey and go to hockey at 11:30 at night.
Right, but
and like struggle to get up and then go and then have a blast and come home, and people are always like, "Why do you go play?"
because you love it.
Because I enjoy it. It's something
Exactly.
to do. It's my
Yeah.
outlet.
Yeah, totally. And this too. This is
This
an
is a
outlet
good- yeah,
for
this is a
both you
good
guys
example.
too, right?
No, not for me.
I just do it to hang out.
Nate's doing it for some. Yeah, what's the obligation?
This is my gateway.
Yeah.
I pay Nate.
He's making
Yeah.
a
I'm the-
portfolio.
I'm the only paid employee here.
Yeah.
So as the podcast goes, we have we put out top 5 lists every episode, and we're coming to the end of the year. So top 5 albums of the year to you, Bill Dixon.
Okay, so I got a little bit of a local tinge to this. I'm gonna go with
It's themed, is what you're saying?
themed. Okay, ask the question again, and I won't say tinged.
We can't edit this out.
There's no editing in this podcast.
There's no editing. Seth Anderson, 1 Week Records.
Very good, yeah.
Ghost Factory, Tales from a Nothing
Also very
Kid.
good.
Yeah. Great band. If anybody, have you guys both heard Ghost Factory?
I don't. Mike has.
Fantastic.
He hasn't informed me about Ghost Factory. That's
haven't.
kind of how the podcast
I'm pretty
goes
sure I
here
have,
too.
and you just
I don't
probably
think
just
so.
ignored me.
I don't think so.
Right.
I
Sounds
listen to
about right, hey?
everything Mike gives me. Everything.
Time for you to check them out.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Great performers too.
They're Calgary.
Calgary,
band.
yeah, really good. I'm gonna go with the Mean Jeans, Tight New Dimension.
Yes.
I really like that
Also
record.
Well, and see, here's something funny because we were talking about this earlier. There were albums that came out earlier in the year that I would have picked to stand the test of a year that just didn't. You know, where you kind of was that album. Obviously, you probably listened to way more than anything current.
What's your problem with the Mean Jeans, dude?
I'm like the only one, right?
Yeah. You're still listening to that, man? Really? Are you ever gonna grow up?
See, I told you, I gave you the Mean Jeans too, and you're like, meh.
Yeah. I really liked the way you crafted the sort of rebuttal to that.
See, he's professional,
Did
right?
you think that it was really gonna stand the test of time? Like, did you really think it was going to last 8 months?
I guess what I was
was
trying to say
one day flash in the pan?
was, are there other records that you probably fell in love with earlier on in the year that maybe didn't make it all the way to December?
Well, I really like that record. I really do. And so I knew as soon as I heard that record that it was going to be on that top 5 list. Do you know who else really loves that record? Besides Mike, is another friend of the podcast.
You could see my mouth
Jay
going.
Jay
to Mike.
Radke.
Jay Radke does
Loves that record. That's he like orders 8 copies of everything.
Yeah.
So I got a copy of that record in color of him.
I think it's 9.
9.
Yeah, it's magic.
So I got one of them off Radke, and then number 4, direct hit, Wasted Mind.
Yeah, I was
Also
gonna
amazing.
say if Mean Jeans made it, direct hit must make it.
Why?
It's a better record.
This is the most critical. This is the most critical Nate's been of anyone's list.
I know. And number 5,
It's because he's a friend.
number 5, and maybe this is my top. This might be funny or biased to me putting it on there. I think you guys know what I'm going to put on there.
I have no idea.
2012,
Who's that by?
Chixdiggit.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And I think I can. I wasn't there when it was recorded, but even if I was, KJ did a great job of writing that. I love what he did there. I think it's totally original, and I just genuinely love that song / record.
Yeah.
So that's maybe a little bit biased, but I'm gonna keep it
It's
on
a
my
plug.
top. It's a
We
plug.
do allow plugs
It's a
on
plug.
the show.
I'm gonna
You
keep.
can plug it.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that, and I know that's gonna be on your top 5s too.
Is there a level of intimidation to having to play a song like that? Like, I mean, we've all probably seen NoFX play The Decline at some point in our show-going careers, and now I've never heard a record, song, single, whatever you want to call it, other than the Decline that's been done in that same way. Is there like a level of intimidation having to maybe learn that song, that album, and then play that live?
You never saw Inagata Davida.
It's a punk rock. This is a punk rock podcast.
Oh
Bill.
yeah. Okay. Well, what else would there be? Yeah. I don't know. I would intimidation, maybe not the wrong word. Challenge.
Okay.
Got a challenge there that it takes a lot to learn a 24-minute song, so
Yeah.
got to spend some time doing that and get it down, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Do you know if it's been played like in one sitting?
I don't believe it has yet. Well, no, like it has, like actually, yeah, it has been, but I don't think in front of an audience yet.
Yeah.
Most challenging song that like to learn yet in the Chixdiggit repertoire?
Okay, here's the thing. They're 3-4 chord songs,
Of course.
but there's things to them that make them all challenging in their own right. So, there has been some that have been more challenging than the others, but I would say that it's not just, oh yeah, 3 chords simple. Like there's things to it, right? Like there's just, you listen to it and then you listen to it as you're going to play it, and you'll find a little thing in each song that's neat, or a little quirk, right? That just gives it what it is. That's what made Chixdiggit. I think.
I was just gonna say, I think that's one of the good things about Chixdiggit is that at first listen you're like, oh, it's so simple, but it's not.
No, yeah,
It's
not.
like the more I've listened to Chixdiggit over the years, I'm just like, oh, there's like a lot of little things in there that you don't think would be there.
Totally. Yeah.
So I'll return to that question. Most challenging Chixdiggit song
That's
to
just
learn
like
yet?
kind of the way like you answered the Mean Jeans.
Who's
song.
conducting this interview?
The Dutch treat.
That's right. Mr. Marzipan.
I would be able to figure that out, but I would need a little bit to think about it. But I'm 2012, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're still working on it.
Yeah.
Fair to say.
Yeah.
But we can look forward to it in 2017,
Yes.
5 years later.
No, that's only not even 1 year later.
Well, it's 2012 though.
But it came out in 2016.
Yes, no, it's true, but it's just a little clever wordplay.
Do you know why it's called 2012?
Because it was when Mark left the band.
Well, I think what
Or
it's
moved
based
to
on,
Spain?
it's their 2012 tour.
Right.
You know, and I know that it's and KJ said this in interviews. It's like a love letter to Mark or whatever. So you know that has something to do with it. But yeah, it's their 2012 tour. So and that's why it's got all the locations and the stories about them, and so it's cool.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Bill.
What are your top 5 lists?
Oh,
can't have that.
you'll have to check the website. We need hits, man. Good luck in 2012 with the Ativans and Chixdiggit, and thanks for doing this.
In 2012.
Oh, did I say 2012? Fuck you guys!
Now he's a professional.
Been 2 years, I don't feel right. Sick and tired of this fight. They don't believe in me. Break me out, I can't stay. Hustle route along the way to Armageddon. They will never find me. I won't make a sound. I won't make a sound. Hitchhiking across the desert. California bound. California bound. Never met you along the way. Lucas used to love to play. He's a red racer. I will get my revenge in video Armageddon. I'll blow the whistle. They will never find me. I won't make a sound. I won't make a sound. Hitchhiking across the desert. California bound. California bound. I left these pictures deep inside. The dinosaur we saw rose hide. I left these pictures deep inside. The dinosaur we saw rose hide. They will never find me. I won't make a sound. I won't make a sound. Hitchhiking across the desert. California bound. California bound.